Sir, Rakesh Kumar, sir. Hello.
हाँ डॉक्टर परीक.
Sir, can we start, sir?
या
Okay.
कैमरा ऑन करें.
Good afternoon to all participants. I hope you have enjoyed your lunch. Here with us an excellent lecture, Use of Mineral and Chemical Admixture in Concrete by excellent personality Professor Dr. Rakesh Kumar Sir, working as Professor at Department of Civil Engineering, Motilal Nehru National Institute of Technology, Allahabad, Uttar Pradesh. Sir has completed his Bachelor in Civil Engineering degree in 1991 from Lucknow University and Master degree in the year 1993 from MS University, Baroda, and PhD degree from the University of Varanasi in the year 2001. Sir has almost 22 years of teaching experience in MN and NIT Allahabad. So we can say that Sir is one of the pioneers of MN NIT Allahabad. Sir has published 19 international and 14 national journal research articles, while 28 international and 34 national conference proceedings. Sir has wide expertise in civil engineering, structural engineering, concrete technology, and composite materials. Sir has guided 15 undergraduate, 38 postgraduate, and 2 PhD students who have successfully got the degree. Sir attended and arranged many conferences and workshops. Sir delivered more than 40 experts lectures in different institutes. So I warmly welcome once again Dr. Rakesh Kumar Sir and request to start the session. Thank you.
ये कैमरा नहीं ऑन हो रहा. Thanks for your kind introduction. कैमरा नहीं ऑन हो रहा. So at the outset, I welcome to all the participants in this FDP organized by Government Engineering College, Dahod. The topic of this talk is use of mineral and chemical admixtures in concrete. So now I start this talk. I am going to share the slides. कहाँ से कैमरा हाँ is it visible?
Sir, wait for 1 minute. Yet not, but let us wait for 1 minute, sir.
Okay.
No, sir, yet not. It is not visible. No.
Not visible. Okay, I'm just tried again. Now is it visible?
Sir, 1 minute. It is hope so.
Dr. Parikh?
No, sir, yet not visible, sir.
अच्छा, okay. नहीं, no visible. दोबारा ओपन करके कर दिया जाए. आपका नाम है? नहीं, प्रेजेंटेशन में आ तो रहा है.
Sir,
Yeah.
please share desktop window. There is screen share. Don't go for PowerPoint or anything. Just go for screen share.
Now, is it visible? Signal problem देखते हैं.
No, not yet, sir. Just 1 minute. We are.
नहीं. ये वो उस पे है, डेस्कटॉप पे ही है. इसको पहले बंद कर दीजिए, फिर दोबारा करिए. डेस्कटॉप पे जाओ. Sorry.
Yes, sir. It is visible now.
अभी.
Yes, sir. It is visible now.
Yeah. Is it visible?
Perfectly visible.
Okay.
Your voice as well as the PPT both are visible.
अच्छा. Okay. So
You may start, sir.
Full screen हो गया.
Sir, it is full screen, sir.
Full screen. Your
Yes,
side.
Yes, it is from my side. It is full screen.
अच्छा. Okay. So, dear participants and organizers, we start use of mineral and chemical admixture in concrete. As you know, concrete, it is a man-made composite material. It is most widely used building material in the construction industry, and its per capita consumption is the second largest after the water. So it consists lime or cement as a binding material, well-graded fine and coarse aggregate, water, and if required, admixtures. Most of the ancient structures and historical building had been constructed with lime concrete. With the advent of the cement, use of the lime concrete has been confined. Admixtures are used in concrete to improve workability without increasing the water content, accelerator or retarder as to accelerate or retard the setting time, control strength development, enhance durability to frost action, thermal cracking, alkali aggregate reactions. Sulfate attack, corrosion of the reinforcement, reduced bleeding and segregation, reduce the rate of heat evaluation. Admixtures, different type of admixtures are available in the market. Plasticizers, super plasticizer, retarders and retarding plasticizers, accelerators and accelerating plasticizers, air intent admixtures, corrosion inhibiting admixtures, damp proofing and waterproofing admixtures, gas forming admixtures, air detraining admixtures, alkali aggregate expansion inhibitor admixtures, workability admixtures, grouting admixtures, bonding admixtures, fungicidal, germicidal, insecticidal admixtures, coloring admixtures, pozzolanic or mineral admixtures. ये आगे कैसे जाएगा यार? तो ये फिर आ गया 1 मिनट, कहाँ चला गया? साइड पीछे से जाएगी। यस, यहाँ से ठीक है। So in this, important is the pozzolanic or mineral admixtures. The use of pozzolanic material is as old as the art of the concrete constructions. It was recognized long time ago that addition of suitable pozzolanas modified certain properties of fresh and hardened concrete. Greeks and Roman used certain finely divided siliceous material with lime produce strong cementing material. After the development of natural cement, that is the Portland cement, the practice of using pozzolanas declined. But more recent time, pozzolanas have been extensively used in Europe, USA, Japan, India, particularly all the developed and developing countries, and particularly in the marine and hydraulic structures. So what is the improvement if we use the pozzolanic material in the concrete? So it lower the heat of hydration and thermal shrinkage, increase the water tightness, reduce the alkali aggregate reactions, improve resistance to sulfate attack, improve workability, and low cost and other reasons are also. So here we can say if we use the pozzolanic materials, we can improve the durability of the structure. So what is the pozzolanic material? Pozzolanic materials are finely divided siliceous or siliceous and aluminous material which in themselves possess little or no cementitious value, but the presence of moisture chemically react with the calcium hydroxide liberated on hydration at ordinary temperature to form compound possessing cementing properties. So pozzolana plus calcium hydroxide plus water, when these three react, it forms the CSH gel. CSH gel means calcium silicate hydrate gel. And what is the role of this calcium silicate hydrate? It gives role in the strength producing. So in that case, when you choose any pozzolanic material, whatever calcium hydroxide liberated due to the hydration and plus moisture available in the concrete, that gives the additional calcium silicate hydrate, and that is the main advantage of the using pozzolanic material in the concrete. So initially this reaction is low, so heat of hydration and strength development is also slow. The reason is, first of all, it is assumed that suppose you take the pozzolanic material fly ash, initially 6 or 7 days it is in the dormant position, but when calcium hydroxide liberated due to the remaining OPC cement, that react with the pozzolanic material, and in the presence of water it forms the calcium silicate hydrate. So this reaction is low. Due to that, heat of hydration is low and strength gain that is also slow. So the consumption of CaOH voltage improves the durability of cement paste. Artificial pozzolanas, natural pozzolanas, surki, it is the old practice in the India. But the artificial pozzolanas, that is the byproduct of certain materials, that is the fly ash, silica fume, metakaolin, rice husk, blast furnace slag, sugarcane bagasse ash. These are the 6 popular artificial pozzolans that we can use successfully in the concrete. Some mineral admixtures are pozzolanic. like low calcium, fly ash. Some are cementitious. GGBS is the your cementitious material, whereas other are both cementitious as well as pozzolanic material. So byproduct materials are artificial pozzolanas. Number one, fly ash. It is the byproduct of the thermal power plant. It produced when finely divided powder resulting from the combustion of powder coal transported by the flue gases and collected by electrostatic precipitator. So there is first time this fly ash was used in the construction of Hungry Horse Dam in America. In this, approximately 30% OPC was replaced with the fly ash. Second, if we say about the India, so first time in the India, fly ash is used in the construction of Rihan Dam, that is situated in the UP. Okay, so if we say the fly ash production scenario in the India, so present time around 100 million tons fly ash is produced, but we are utilizing only 5 to 7%. So it is a big problem for the disposal. Now it has enhanced the consumption. So there are two ways to utilize the fly ash. One way, to intergrind certain percentage of fly ash with the cement clinker to produce Portland pozzolana cement. That is one of the consumed area of the fly ash. Second way, to use the fly ash as an admixture at the time of making concrete at the site, and that you will use at the site. So one, intergrind. Second, you can replace the OPC with the fly ash. Okay. So second method, you can say at the site, that give the flexibility to change the percentage of concrete. Where for the mass concrete, you can go about 40%. For structural purpose, you can go for the 20%. So that you can do at the site. That is the flexibility you have in your hands. Now, fly ash. So it is the finely divided powder that we have already told you. So in the first category, it containing less than 10% CaO, calcium oxide, produce the combustion of anthracites or bituminous coal called class F fly ash and has pozzolanic property only. High proportion of the silica and alumina that is available in this. Second category, produced by burning lignite or sub-bituminous coal, CaO contain more between 15 to 40%, called as class C fly ash, possessing cementing properties compounds such as C3A, C and C4A3. So here, if you see class F fly ash, that is used for mostly the construction purpose. The quality of fly ash, that is governed by the IS 3812 part 1st 2003, physical chemical requirement of fly ash and properties of fly ash, that is from the different sources that are shown in the tables. So before using the fly ash for the construction purpose, we go through the requirement of the code IS 3812 part 1 2003, and if fulfill the requirement, then we can use for the construction purpose. So here physical properties, fineness that is given 320 to 50, lime reactivity 4.53, compressive strength not less than 80% of the strength of corresponding plain cement mortar cubes, soundness 0.8 that is given. So if we say about the chemical requirement, SiO2 plus Al2O3 plus Fe2O3. That is 70 or more than 70%. So in that case, if the sum of the SiO2, Al2O3 and Fe2O3 is equal to 70 or more than 70%, it is known as class F fly ash. Then SiO2, that is minimum 35%, reactive silica 20%, magnesium oxide 5%, total sulfur and sulfur trioxide, that is 3%, available alkalis 1.5, total chloride in the present of by mass 0.05, and loss on ignition, that is 5% maximum. Now, properties of fly ash of different sorts. So it is not necessary that before utilizing the fly ash, we must be very careful to know about the physical and chemical properties, because it is not change only one thermal power plant. Even it varies, the properties varies in the different units of the same thermal power plant. Okay, so here the different properties are given. Is specific gravity, that 1.91 to 2.25. Wet sieve analysis, the its percentage retain, fineness is also different. So all these things, that is, if you see the content of SiO2, in A it is 50.41, in second it is 50.03, 63.75, 60.1, and range is given 45 to 59. So like this you can say that before using the fly ash, it is necessary to check its physical and chemical compositions, and it should be follow the prescribed IS code. If requirement fulfilled, in that case we can use for the structural purpose. Micrographic evidence from the figure 1 shows most of the particles in fly ash occur at solid spheres of glass. Sometimes a small number of hollow spheres, types called cenosphere, that is completely empty, and plerospheres packed with numerous small spheres. So here it is the micrograph shows. So if we say about the cenospheres, these are the most reactive. So the particle size distribution vary between less than 1 micron to the 100 micron, with more than 50% by mass less than 20 micron, and particle size of this distribution, that is shown in the figure, next figure. So here you see scanning electron microscope of typical class F fly ash, spherical glass particles. It is the plerosphere, it is the glassy particles, that is more reactive. Comparison of particle size distribution. So here you see it is the ASTM type 1 Portland cement. In this, another is typical low calcium fly ash, and third is your typical high calcium fly ash. So here its range is given up to the 0.01. It is the condensed silica film. Its particle size, that is very narrow. So here we can say condensed silica film, that we will discuss later on. Here particle distribution is shown, that is more fine than the cement as well as the fly ash. Effect of fly ash on the phase properties. What is the effect of fly ash on the phase properties? So first thing, if we use the right quantity of fly ash, that result reduction of water demand for desired slump. It is reported by Berry and Malhotra कि 30% of cement with fly ash, if you replace 30% cement with the fly ash, 7% less water requirement will be in the control concrete for the equal slump. Decrease bleeding and drying shrinkage, reduction in heat of hydration, that we have already explained, because initially 1 week fly ash is in the dormant stage. So only suppose you have used the 30% fly ash in the concrete, so only 70% cement part, OPC part, that will be in the active mode, and whatever heat is generated, so that heat of hydration will be less than total 100% OPC. Here you see temperature rise and age. So in this upper side, no fly ash, and in the second curve, 30% fly ash. So the concrete in which you have used fly ash is not used, in that case temperature is raised around 30 degrees centigrade. But in the another concrete in which 30% fly ash is used, temperature is around 20 degrees centigrade. So in that case, it is available in the literature, if you use the mass concrete, in that case we use the certain pozzolanic materials, so that heat of hydration that should be reduced. Effect of fly ash on the hardened concrete. We get more strength due to pozzolanic activity, lower at early age, greater strength at later age. As in the reaction, ki pozzolana plus calcium hydroxide liberated plus water, that form the calcium silicate hydrate gel. Okay, so in that case, ki whatever calcium hydroxide liberated due to the heat of hydration, that consume with the reaction with the pozzolanic material, and additional calcium silicate hydrate generate, and that result in the hardened concrete of the concrete. Dense texture of the concrete, because the particle size, that is 1 to 100 micron. So due to that, and around 50%, that is less than 20 micron. So in that case, it covers the small spaces available in the concrete. So we get the dense texture of the concrete. Reduction in water gas permeability. If there is less void, in that case permeability, either water or gas, that will be reduced. So if the permeability is less, in that case the foreign elements such like sulfate, chloride, that will not be introduced in the body of concrete, and it will make durable concrete. But more curing is required, because a continuous hydration process is required. When one side calcium hydroxide liberated, that will start to react with the pozzolanic material. So curing is more required in this case. What is the effect on the durability of concrete? Dense texture shows high resistivity to infiltration of deleterious substances. So whatever substances that affect the body of concrete, its infiltration is reduced. More resistant to corrosion of the reinforcement, because it is the dense texture. Due to that, chloride, or you can say moisture, that will not be go near the body of the reinforcing material, and due to that corrosion will not be start. Reduction of expansion due to alkali aggregate reaction, because calcium hydroxide you are already consumed by the pozzolanic material, so due to that it alkali aggregate reaction, that is also reduced. So its use, Indian processed fly ash, Pojocrete brand, used in the Burj Khalifa building, highest building of the world. So it is not necessary that you just take the fly ash from any thermal power plant, you use it directly. So first thing, it should be fulfill the requirement of the IS code, and after that, if you want more reactivity, in that case we can process it. जो cenospheres, most of the particles that is cenosphere, its reactivity is more, so we can use the high rise structures. So that is the Pojocrete that is used in the Burj Khalifa building. Now second pozzolanic material that is the silica film, also referred as microsilica or condensed silica film. It is produced resulting from the reduction of high purity quartz with coal in electric arc furnace in the manufacture of silica or ferrosilicon alloys. Silica fume rises as an oxidized vapor. Condensed silica fume is essentially silicon oxide more than 90%. So here any pozzolanic material sensitivity is based on the content of the active silica available in that pozzolanic material, because whatever the active silica that will react with the calcium hydroxide liberated due to the hydration, and it will in the presence of the water, it will form the calcium silicate hydrate. So scanning electron micrographs that is shown in this figure, size less than 0.1 micron and surface area in the range of 50 to 25 meter square per gram. Minimum size of fly ash that was 1 micron, but it is 1/10 size less than 0.1 micron. In the previous slide, we have shown the comparison ASTM cement, fly ash and silica fume. So it is very fine. So particle size distribution that is shown already in the previous figure. Scanning electron micrographs of silica fume and rice ash. So it is A is the silica fume and B is of the rice husk, that is also another pozzolanic material. So pozzolanic action, same action, silica fume plus calcium hydroxide liberated due to the hydration plus water, that is form the calcium silicate hydrate gel. This gel is dense and amorphous. The physical and chemical properties is shown in the next table. What is the influence when you use the silica fume in the concrete? What is the influence on the fresh properties? Here in the silica fume, water demand increases. In the fly ash, as one study I have told you, if you replace the 30%, 7% water demand decreases. But when you use the silica fume, in that case, water demand increases because it is very fine. Addition of microsilica will lead to lower slump, but more cohesive mixture. Vulnerable to sinkage, cracking, because due to fineness, produce more heat of hydration at the initial stage. Because it is cementitious silica fume, pozzolanic, another silica fume is the cementitious material. So due to that, heat of hydration is more. However, the total generation of heat will be less than the reference concrete, means the concrete made with the OPC. Okay. So it is the physical and chemical properties. It is the comparison of OPC and silica fume. Specific gravity 3.1, it's 2.2. Mean grain size 22.5 and it is 0.2. 1. Specific area 3,250 and it is more than 2 lakhs. Color dark gray, light in dark gray. Silicon SiO2 in 122.03, but here you have seen it is 96%. So if major content is the silicon, almost the SiO2, so other minerals that will be less in comparison to the OPC. Influence on hardened properties. Microsilica showed outstanding characteristic in the development of strength. If you want to early strength, in that case we use the silica fume and increase the durability due to fine texture. It enhances the durability of the concrete. There is third, it is metakaolin. Thermally activated ordinary clay and kaolitic clay. This unpurified materials called metakaolin. It is not purified and it is not highly reactive. For the highly reactive metakaolin, it is made by water processing to remove the unreactive impurities, and after that it is 100% reactive pozzolanas we get metakaolin. So high reactive metakaolin shows high pozzolanic reactivity and reduction in calcium hydroxide even as early as 1 day. So if you have take the processed metakaolin, in that case its reactivity increase and it will give the early strength. Addition of metakaolin enhance the workability, durability, strength, resistance to crack and less permeable because the fineness is more than the cement. Improve the microstructure as well as decrease the calcium hydroxide content. At the durability point of view, minimum calcium hydroxide is required. So it is the advantage, whatever calcium hydroxide is liberated, that consumed with the active pozzolanic material. So it improves the durability. Dense packing, weaker zone at transition zone become stronger. So its reaction, metakaolin plus calcium hydroxide plus water, that form the calcium silicate hydrate gel. Physical and chemical properties, metakaolin and OPC. Specific gravity 3.1, it's 2.5, 22.5 main grain size, it's 2.54. Specific area 3,250 and it is more than 1.5 lakhs to the 1.8 lakhs. If we compare with the silicon SiO2 20.25 and in the metakaolin it is 60 to 65. Aluminum oxide 5.04, here it is 30.34. So it is total, here we can say comparison of the metakaolin with the OPC. Another rice husk ash. It is obtained by burning of the rice husk, and that is burned in the controlled manner without causing environmental pollution. So we have sufficient rice husk. It creates environmental problem, disposal problem. So when we properly burn, it has high silica content and can be used at the pozzolanic material in the concrete. So RHA contains amorphous silica 90%, SiO2 5% carbon and 2% potassium oxide. Specific surface RHA is between 40 to 100 meter square per gram, means it is not so fine like the condensed silica, but it is more fine. So here, if we say about the production, so if you take the 1 ton paddy rice, by that we produce 200 kg rice husk, and after the combustion we get 40 kg ash. So we can get say ki if we burn 1 ton of 200 kg of the rice husk, we get 40 kg ash. In India, approximately 122 million ton paddy production. Many researchers have reported that addition of RHA in concrete enhance the mechanical properties as well as the durability property. So the spherical shape is shown in figure 4. Here you see it is the, so it is the shape of the particles of the rice husk ash. After that, fifth is the ground granulated blast furnace slag. It is non-metallic product consisting silicate and aluminate of calcium and other base. The molten slag is rapidly chilled by the quenching in water. This results a glossy sand-like granulated material. And these granulated material, when further ground, so we get the particles less than 45 micron. So here the glassy form, this glassy form makes more reactive this GGBS. So specific surface that is between 400 to 600 meter square per kg, more fine. Here the chemical composition of GGBS: calcium oxide 30 to 45, SiO2 30 38, Al2 15 to 25, Fe2 0.5 to 2. So here in India, production of is about 7.8 million tons of blast furnace slag. After that, the next is the sugarcane bagasse ash. It is the new pozzolanic material. Here study is going on. So as you know, we are the sugarcane producer country. So we have much bagasse in this country. So what is the bagasse? So bagasse is the residue. It is not from the sugar. It may be from the fruits, or you can say seeds. So residue from the plant are part of the plant, cane, fruits, seeds. After the juice has been extracted, आपने जूस निकाल लिया, उसके बाद में जो remaining part, that is known as bagasse. Bagasse is a fibrous material that is composed of the external part of the cane. The main composition of the washed dried bagasse is cellulose, hemicellulose, lignin, that is 18 to 24%, and ash 1 to 4%. So after extraction the sugarcane juice, a large amount of wet bagasse is yielded, that is around 30 to 34% by mass of collected sugarcane. It is in the wet system. Several uses, and after that it is dried. So several uses are known for these bagasse, including soil amendments, fertilizers, composting, extraction of cellulose fibers, animal foods, adsorbent, composites, etc. So the management of this residue is great importance from the environmental point of view. Means if we consumed properly, we make environmental friendly and conserve the raw material that we can also save. So it is new substitute of the cementing material. Here you see sugarcane bagasse produced from the sugar industry. So what is sugarcane bagasse? The sugarcane bagasse is the residue from combustion of sugarcane bagasse. It has properties that is utilized as source of raw material in the cement and concrete industry, consisting of high silica content in the amorphous phase, possessing pozzolanic properties. If it is in the glossy form, so in that case, it will act as the cementing material. But due to this amorphous phase, it is act as the pozzolanic material. This pozzolanicity can be exploited in combination with the Portland cement or in the development of new cement. So if we substitute with the add in the Portland cement, we can use the property of this sugarcane bagasse in the eastern development. So these ashes, after burning bagasse as energy source, are dumped into the landfill as the waste. So here it says approximately 62 kg of sugarcane bagasse is obtained by burning dried bagasse in boiler at temperature varying about 300 to 600 degree per ton of sugarcane crushed. तो आपने 1 ton sugarcane crush किया, by that you can get 62 kg of sugarcane bagasse ash. It is when calcinated at temperature between 600 to 700 degree centigrade is with high pozzolanic activity, which is generally associated with the formation of large quantities of amorphous silica. So there is some effect of the burning also over this. When my student has done work and after that it is seen that if you go up to the 800, 900 degrees centigrade, 1000 degrees centigrade, the reactivity or pozzolanic activity of this SCBA increases. So it is the sugarcane field, and here you can say second, mechanical harvesting. Third is the sugarcane leaves left in the field after the harvesting in this area. And 4, stockpile of bagasse in the sugar industries. So here it is stored. It is sugarcane mill, bagasse, generio, bagasse ash. It can use as the fertilizer and landfills. So here our purpose is for the cement replacement. So we use this sugarcane bagasse ash as the cement replacement. Chemical composition: SiO2, that is around 65.1, Al2O3 8.2, and Fe2O3 3.2. So some of these, that is more than 70. So it can use as the pozzolanic, good pozzolanic material. Physical properties: color black reddish, particle size 0.12, 105, particle shape spherical, specific gravity that is 1.8 to 2.1, fineness 95 to 97, less than passing 45 micron, and loose bulk density that is 575 to 578, and compacted it is 1200 to 1560, soundness 1.21. So crystal structure of bagasse. The main composition of bagasse is siliceous oxide that react with free lime from the cement hydration. The uncrystalline silica oxide has pozzolanic properties. So original SCBA contains high carbon content and higher quantities of the crystalline silica, which act in adverse manner if it is used as a pozzolana. So we must be very careful to what is the percentage of carbon content in the SCBA. So it should be less if you have burned properly at a certain temperature, you will get good quality sugarcane bagasse. So the reactivity of crystalline silica in SCBA can be improved by processing of SCBA to produce purified sugarcane bagasse. So processing, if you filter the impurities available in the sugarcane bagasse, you can get good quality sugarcane bagasse. Application, you can use as a mineral admixture, making of floor and wall tiles, making the bricks in the lightweight concrete, and for it is the great source of the silica. Now application of mineral admixture in high strength concrete. So here mixed proportion using the different mineral component. Here different mixtures, average strength that is given in this table. Okay, 60. If you get the 65, in that case PC, here fly ash or GGBS is that it is condensed silica fume. So total in the first case 534 kg per meter cube pure PC, and in that case water cement total water is 160. Its water cement ratio is 0.3, and total batch coarse aggregate 1050, fine aggregate 690, it is 2434. In another case, Portland cement is 400 kg, but fly ash it is 106 kg. So here some total density, because that is reduced, that is 2406, and water cement ratio that is increased 0.32. Another third 464 fly ash, 36 condensed silica fume. So in that case net total batch is 2400. So there are if you use the PC, after that you use the one mineral admixtures, so that is the binary. Like there are certain advantages and disadvantages. So overcome, suppose you are using the condensed silica fume, it increase the water demand, but you have seen okay, if you use the fly ash, in that case water demand decreases. So if you, but you know condensed silica fume that is more reactive. So in that case, how much percentage of this fly ash and how much percentage of the condensed silica fume or another pozzolanic material we use, by that we get a proper strength. So that is the binary ternary admixtures that is used, taking the advantage or disadvantage of the material, and we get a good quality concrete using another pozzolanic material in the group. Sometimes 2, 3, 4 pozzolanic materials that is used. So this mixed proportioning, that is a we do in the laboratory, and our aim to get a good quality concrete. That concrete of the required strength, fulfill the required strength. And second is it must be durable. So in this table, different combinations are given. Average strength 65 to 120, and we have only Portland cement. After that, mineral admixtures, that is your fly ash or silica fume. So by that we can get the concrete of the grade 120. Here in this water cement ratio, as you see, as we go for the higher strength water cement ratio, that decreased. So how to make the concrete workable? So for that, chemical admixtures are required. So that we will discuss. So using the mineral admixtures as well as the chemical admixtures, we can get a good quality concrete, and so that will be very fruitful for the structures. There is another different mixes here: Portland cement, after that silica fume, then fly ash. So using this, the different water requirement 158, 160, 155, water cement ratio 0.28, 0.29, 0.29, and mixed 4 it is 0.22 and 0.22, 0.23. So here we use some chemical admixtures, and by that we can get the proper workability. Mixed proportion of high strength concrete used in 4 different metropolitan areas of the North America. In one mix, 400 kg Portland cement, fly ash 100 kg, coarse aggregate 1150, fine aggregate 590, total water 162. The water cement ratio 0.33 and average strength is 56. But in the second case, cement is 360, means you can reduce the OPC content. Fly ash content, that is the best material, here 150. Coarse aggregate same, 1157. Fine aggregate 603. But chemical admixture super plasticizer, that is at 3 kg per meter cube. Total water, that is reduced. Now using this super plasticizer, water demand reduced. So water cement ratio is 0.29. And now the average compressive strength is 80 kg, 80 Newton per mm square. So here water cement ratio, here you are consuming more cement, but strength is less, only 56. But here you are using less Portland cement, using increasing the fly ash content, that is treated as the waste material. Only you have do some change at the water demand. So pure water demand you have reduced, but add the super plasticizer and you have got the strength of 80 Newton per mm square. Same in the mix 3, the water demand it is 0.3 and strength is 82. But in the mix 4, that is was used to provide a high stiffness concrete, 50 GPa modulus of elasticity for 18 columns of 2 union squares building of Seattle. So here, because strength, compressive strength is more 138 MPa, so cement content 564, silica fume highly reactive, that is again 44, coarse aggregate 1100 kg 682, but water requirement 124 liter per meter cube. So for get the proper workability, we use the super plasticizer 21 liter per meter cube, and by that we can use the we can get the compressive strength of 138 MPa. So that is another table here also. You see mix 1, it is the strength gain 58.3 days, 58.3, 65.9, 78.6. Mix 2, mix 3, mix 4, as mix we have discussed. So here if you see tensile strength, that is also increases, modulus of rupture, that is also increases. So drying sinkage, that is reduced, and rapid chloride permeability test, the results that is shown in this case. Here in the mix 1 it is 2570, but in another it is 650, 580. So means if you increase the pozzolanic materials, it will give the favorable result, means increase the here reduction in the rapid chloride permeability, drying sinkage. So other mechanical property that is enhanced, and we use in the proper concrete for the durable, and we that result in the durable structure. Now we come to the chemical admixtures that we have discussed in the previous 2-3 mixes. What is the role of the chemical admixtures? So chemical admixtures, that is widely available in the market, but we must it is necessary that before using the chemical admixture, we first check the compatibility. It is not necessary each and every chemical admixture is compatible with a different type of cement. So in that case, compatibility is must before using the chemical admixtures. So here plasticizer, super plasticizer, retarders, accelerators, air entraining admixtures, damp proofing and waterproofing admixtures, gas forming admixtures, air detraining admixtures, alkali aggregate expansion inhibiting admixtures, workability admixtures, then grouting admixtures, corrosion inhibiting admixtures, then another admixtures. So in this we say today about the super plasticizer. So here by adding to a hydraulic binder give very high workability and allows a large decrease in the water content for given workability. So for a civil engineer, for a site engineer, it is necessary to whatever concrete you are providing in the structure, that should be workable. But if you see for the strength point of view or durability point of view, it requires minimum water cement ratio. So that is the challenge, and this challenge is fulfilled by using the super plasticizer. So what it does, allows the particle to be more workable where it is enabled working with low water cement ratio. So using this, you have decreased the water cement ratio, but in that condition all the particles should be workable. So due to that we use the super plasticizer. Enhance hydration process and resulted as increase in the strength. Eliminate concrete segregation and allow good dispersion of cement particles in the water, accelerating the rate of hydration. So that is the advantage of super plasticizer. Using this we will do. Another, uniform disruption of cement particle, that is partially responsible for high early strength in the concrete made with superplasticizer. Advantage of using superplasticizers are decreased time to place and finish, accelerate curing period, and early removal of the formwork, because water cement ratio is less. Due to that, it gets proper strength in a shorter period. Excessive doses may render concrete too fluid, causing severe segregation. So it is not necessary, you are not getting the proper workability, you add more dose, more dose, more dose. So that will affect the initial setting time, as well as segregation will also cause. So when we use the chemical admixtures, we must be very careful. Generally, industries give the maximum dose of the superplasticizer or another chemical admixtures. If you are not getting the required property, in that case, you take another combinations, either by the artificial pozzolanic admixtures or with the chemical admixtures. But our aim to get a good quality concrete. So here you see what does the superplasticizer. Here you see flocculated cement particles, these area. But when you add the admixtures, in that case, the particles that disperse. So photomicrographs of flocculated cement particles in Portland cement water suspension with admixtures. Now it is dispersed. So as the open surface area will be more, in that case, reaction will be fast. So here, example of high early strength achieved by using the superplasticizer. Here, referral concrete, in that cement content is 360 kg per meter cube. And you have fixed the water cement ratio 0.6. Your slump required is 225. The strength gain 10, 21, 32, 40, 45. Now in the second, concrete of same consistency means 225 mm, but containing less water and 2% superplasticizer by weight of cement. In that case, 360 cement content is same, consistency is same, but you have reduced water cement ratio from 0.6 to 0.45. And now in this mix, the gain in the compressive strength, one day it increased 10 to 20, 3 days 21 to 35, in the 7 days 32 43, and at the 28 days 45 to 55. So there is double gain at one day. But in the third case, concrete of same water cement ratio, but containing no superplasticizer and having a low slump. Here, in this case, you have not used the superplasticizer. So slump is reduced from 225 to 30 mm. Cement content is same. But the effect of water cement ratio, the strength gain 10 to 16, 21 to 28, 32 to 37, and 45 to 52. So these are certain examples. By that you can set which component we increase, which reduce. So what, as per the requirement of the site, you can change it and you can get a good quality concrete. Here, dispersion caused by superplasticizer to the cement particles in this. So these are the repulsive force developed, and due to that, cement particles disperse. Here, electrostatic repulsive force that act in this case. So that is shown in this figure. Now, second, surface active chemicals. Surface active chemicals cover admixtures generally used for air entrainment and water reduction in the concrete. Surface active admixtures consist essentially a long chain of organic molecules, one end of which is hydrophilic, means it attracts the water, and another is the hydrophobic, that repel the water. The hydrophilic end contains one or more polar group such as COO, SO3, NH3. Surfactant used as air entrainment admixtures generally consist of salt of wood, resins, petrochemicals, and some synthetic detergent. Surfactant used for plasticizing admixtures usually are salt and modification and derived of lignosulfonic acid, hydroxylate carboxylic acid, and polyethylene are combination of the above three. So here the chemistry people or chemical engineers, that is the main role to develop the chemical admixtures, and as a civil engineer we use in the concrete. So seeing all the properties, we can say then air entraining admixtures and air entraining admixtures concrete containing air in rather special form of a bubble that trap in the concrete. So here we get bubble, and by that we entrain the air. Workability improved, slump will increase, there will be easier placing, and because there is no space, only bubble is there, so in that case increased durability, better resistance to frost action, able to reduce segregation tendency and control of bleeding. Less water, there is no free water in the gap, so less there is air, due to that less bleeding. So it is necessary to have a careful control of air content and mixing time. So when we use the chemical admixtures, we must be very careful. Water mixes tend to result in higher air content, while mixes rich in sand intend less air, because fine materials composite is more. If air entrant is to be used, sand content need to be reduced. Once you are using the fine aggregate, so in that case there will be less free space and for the placing of the air in the voids. So bubble produced by air entrainment are quite different from the entrapped air. We calculate the entrapped air 2%, or you can say sometimes 1.5% we assume. But when you are producing the bubble in the concrete, so in that case they are sealed and would not be filled with water during normal saturation of the concrete, and they are very small and well distributed. So that is the advantage. Used to increase concrete durability by protecting it against freeze-thaw cycle damage, by entraining air in concrete to form a microscopic air-wide system. The expansion is provided a relief valve system. The air-wide system in the hardened concrete paste allows water to freeze, with the empty air wides providing room for expansion that occurs as water change to ice. So if you are providing the bubbles, in that case there will be no water, so we can reduce the freezing of the water. So freezing thaw probability we can reduce using this chemical. So here it is given CS3 in this case, COOH particles, and here air comes between the cement particles, and in this case you see it is closer, but when you use this, gap is increased. So in this one non-polar chain, negative chain, so that is the function of these air entrained admixtures in the concrete. The formula of a typical air entraining surfactant device from pine oil. It is the and mechanism of air entrainment when annoying surfactants with a non-polar hydrocarbon chain is added to the cement paste. So it is seen what is the effect that is shown in this figure. Now, water reducing admixtures are plasticizers used to reduce the amount of water necessary to produce a concrete of given consistency. Because for the workability, it is necessary the slump. So to increase the slump for a given water content, if you use the water reducing admixture and you fix the water cement ratio, certainly slump will increase. To obtain a specific strength, a lower water cement ratio, as per the Abraham's rule, if you want to more strength water cement ratio, that should be less. Increased workability with faster gain of the strength, increase the slump, reduce water content, save cement. That is another purpose. You can save the cement. And the disadvantage of this admixture, it has the risk of corrosion. So if we use the admixtures, in that case we must be very careful. We use some mineral admixtures so that we get the dense texture, and by that, if we use chemical admixtures, that will not reach to the near the surface of the reinforcement, and there will be no risk of the corrosion of the reinforcement. So formula of a typical surfactant used for water reducing admixtures. These are hydrocarbons containing anionic polar system. So one is citric acid, formula is given, gluconic acid, this formula, and repeating unit of lignosulfate sulfonate polymers, that is. In the second case, when surfactants is added the cement water system, the polar chain gets absorbed on the surface of cement. Here you will see. This reduces the surface tension of water and makes cement particles hydrophilic. So as the water will attract, reaction will start and reaction will be fast. So one thing, it disperse the cement particles and after that attract the water so that reaction will start. Floc formation by cement particles before addition of water, reducing surfactant, and dispersion of flocks after addition. It is the case of cement particles before adding the water reducing admixtures. But when you add it, after that you see all these particles dispersed. There is sufficient surface area and water is attracted, so that your hydration process that will be faster and you will get higher strength at low water cement ratio. Benefits achieved by using water reducing admixtures. Here you see, using this example, it is the one mixture, that is a reference concrete. Cement content 300 kg per meter cube. Water cement ratio is 0.62. Slump required is 50. 7 days strength 25 MPa and 28 days strength is 37. That is your referral concrete. After that, when we use the water reducing admixture, so consistency increase. Means cement content is same, 300. Water cement ratio is same, 0.62. But you have used the water reducing admixtures, slump increased from 50 to 100. And there is no more effect over the strength. 25 to 26, 37 to 38. Because the water cement ratio is same. But in the second case, your aim to make the workable concrete. You required only 50 mm slump. So in that case, you can reduce the water cement ratio. So in this case, cement content is 300. You reduce the water cement ratio 0.56. And at this stage, you see compressive strength increased from 25 to 34 and 28 days strength from 37 to 46. So if you use this combination, here strength is more. So that is the it means you are not properly utilize the resources. So then what we can do? We can do in the another things. Okay. Water cement ratio in this 270. Water cement ratio is 0.62. Consistency is 50. And strength is 25 to 25.5 and 37 to 37.5. So by this way, using the super plasticizer, you have increased the cement content, decrease the cement content, save the cement 30 kg per meter cube. And strength is almost same as in the referral concrete. So using this, you can save the cement, and that saving of the cement, that is environmental friendly step, and we can save the natural resource for the next generation. So by that way, so here we can say what is the advantage of the water reducing admixtures. Now another chemical admixtures, that is the accelerator. It is added in the concrete to increase the rate of hydration of concrete mix, which then lead to increase in the rate of development of strength and greater heat evaluation, and to shorten the setting time, more rapid gain of strength and rapid setting. So if any industry is in working condition, you cannot shut down. So for a certain period, you take the shutdown and use the accelerator, you repair it, so that there is no much effect over the production of the product in that industry. Disadvantage is possible cracking due to more heat of the evaluation and possibility of corrosion embedded reinforcement. So you see, if you use this, after that such type problem will occur. So you take the proper step so that no much heat evaluation, and that is another retarding admixtures. It is used for prolong or delay the setting time of cement paste in concrete. It is used in the hot weather to reduce any premature stiffening of the concrete and consequent loss of the workability. It's often carried by ready-mix concrete (RMC) vehicles to prevent the concrete setting in the drum in the event of breakdown. So that will depends the distance of the RMC. So disadvantage, it may promote bleeding in the concrete. So if your RMC is at 2 away, in that case, you can use the retarding admixtures so that you can properly place the concrete at the site. Corrosion inhibitors able to reduce the rate of corrosion to level that major damage to concrete will be avoided or least greatly reduced. So once the corrosion starts, volume of the oxides increase and it will create the pressure over the surrounding concrete. So initially the crack will start, then spalling start. So avoid this, we use the corrosion inhibitors, and that is mostly in the presence of the moisture. This corrosion initiate. So we can use the corrosion inhibitors in the concrete. Alkali aggregate reaction inhibiting admixtures. So lithium and barium salts can reduce the expansion and cracking associated with the alkali silica reaction. Shrinkage reducing admixtures able to reduce the amount of shrinkage that occurs as hardened concrete dries. So by this we have discussed some mineral admixtures and something about chemical admixtures. So how to use the mineral admixtures, what is the advantage and what is the disadvantage, and after that we use one pozzolanic material or two pozzolanic material or three binary, ternary, like this, taking the advantage. In some cases slump increases, in some cases water demand increases. So to make a balance, we can use such type of mineral admixtures and chemical admixtures, different type of chemical admixtures and its uses that we have discussed. These are certain references. P.K. Mehta and Montorio, that is Concrete Microstructure Properties and Materials. It is very important book for the concrete. So another papers that is shown here. Any question, please?
Hello.
Hello.
Hello, sir.
Yeah.
My voice is audible, sir?
Yeah.
Okay. So thank you very much, sir, for sharing your valuable knowledge with us. And it's our pleasure to listen you very carefully about the words in the concrete technology and the use of the mineral admixtures in the concrete, sir. Really thank you, sir, for giving your valuable time on the today's date. Thank you very much, sir. Now, I kindly request you to the participants, if you have any kind of query, please send us the WhatsApp or write in the chat box so that we can ask the questions to the sir and we can take the guidance from them. So if you have, please raise your doubts or questions or query over here through chat box or through WhatsApp group. So we wait the sir. We will wait the response for 5 minutes, sir.
Okay.
Sir, one question is that, sir, how can we correlate hydration process using mineral admixture?
Actually, how to correlate means, as you know, during the hydration process, when we mix the water, calcium hydroxide is liberated, and due to that, additional heat is generated. Now, if you add the pozzolanic material there and certain pozzolanic materials, the chemical reaction hydration start when calcium hydroxide liberated is react with the pozzolanic material. So initial stage, certain time will take OPC cement, then calcium hydroxide will liberate, and that calcium hydroxide that will react with the pozzolanic material, then again heat of hydration that it evolve. So here we will get a certain time. See, initial, suppose you have mixed the 30% fly ash in the any concrete. So OPC, that is only 70%. So in that case, you can say in the initial period, 1 week, you can say कि whatever heat is generated, that is only due to the 70% OPC. But we can take the advantage कि whatever calcium hydroxide is liberated, that is not leached out. It will react with the pozzolanic material and form the CSH. So due to that, one peak has come. So we reduce that peak, and due to that, we can heat of hydration that is reduced. And due to that, in the mass concreting, where you can say if the heat of hydration is less, and there will be no cracks develop at the surface. So only we can increase the pozzolanic material, and utilizing the calcium hydroxide, by that we can say heat of hydration is less.
Thank you very much, sir. There is another question is that, sir, there are two different things that the particular mixture that is minerals available from the natural source, and there are some minerals which are chemical based. So
Yeah.
which one is preferable, and what is the reason for the justification?
Actually, there are two categories. One is your mineral admixtures. So in that mineral admixtures, what are the advantages and what are the disadvantages, that we have already discussed. So there is certain role of the mineral admixtures, and there is certain role of the chemical admixture. Suppose we are taking the water reducing admixtures. So in that case, if you use the fly ash, okay. So as we know, if use the fly ash in the concrete, water demand decreases. So in that we can say if your required slump is you can get using the fly ash, in that case we cannot go for the chemical admixtures, water reducing admixtures. But suppose if you are using the mineral admixture, silica fume, that water demand increases, but you cannot in that case we can take the help of the chemical admixture, water reducing admixture, so that proper slump we can get, and we can make the workable concrete. Okay. So
sir.
that is the role of the mineral admixtures, that is another part, and role of the chemical admixture, that is the another part. But using this, as per the situation, we can use the mineral admixture as well as the chemical admixture also.
Sir, there is another question. Sir, while we are doing the re-strengthening, we are using the concrete, if example, and in that case, if you are using certain minerals, so if that particular concrete, how it will be acted with the old concrete by using the admixtures with the old concrete? If the new concrete is, concrete with certain admixtures, if we are adding certain admixture, how to behave with the old concrete?
No, suppose there is old concrete and you want to use the new concrete over the old concrete.
Because the question is that in old concrete we do not know the type of grade and the particular admixture which we have used. We do not know. But in new we are using certain one. So how it will be reacted?
No, it will be here we can say we don't know about the concrete. In that case, we can do the non-destructive testing. We can say by that we get a certain strength of that concrete, and by that we can take some help correlate there would be what is the life of the concrete that time. Suppose if it is structure is after the 2000, in that case minimum grade of concrete was M20, but before this it is M15. So some study, by that we can say in the old concrete that may be this may be the chance, and in new concrete exactly we cannot say. In my opinion, I am not sure at this stage. But if you are using the new concrete using this, you can do this. So I am not sure about this. But using some non-destructive testing, you can get some result, and by that you can correlate it.
Sir, there's another question is that, sir, if we are using certain minerals, which kind of the tests are required for those minerals? Like if I take rice as first, then in that case, what are the tests required for the quality check?
No, first of all, you go the physical and chemical composition. Okay, generally producer provide the chemical and physical and chemical properties of the product, particular admixture. And if you know the literature, so as you know, generally 10%, 15%, 20%, as we mix, trial is must. Without trial, you cannot use directly, okay, you can use the 20% or 30%. So in that case, remaining test is same as in the case of the concrete. So first thing, when you take any product, first you see the physical and chemical properties that fulfill the requirement as given in the IS code, and after that certain trials, because it will depends on the locally available materials also. What is the grade of the your aggregate, okay, and how to mix it. So the different parameters. So here you just get the proper concrete. So that will depend. It is not a specific rule. You add the 20% and you will get the strength of the 35 Newton per 35 MPa. So in that case, every concrete person knows what are the parameters that affect the quality of the concrete and how to control it. So on the basis, you will do different trials and you will get, by that you can say we will get the certain target concrete. Okay, whatever strength or whatever properties you required. So in that case, well, for the durability, different tests are available. For the strength, different tests are available. And when all these parameters fulfill, then you can say this quality, this concrete is good for our construction purpose.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much, sir, for sharing your valuable knowledge. There is no more questions, but there will be overwhelming response, good response from the participants. Sir, I kindly request you to share your PPT through me as a WhatsApp or maybe the mail, so that I can share the same thing to the participants, sir.
Okay, okay. I will send.
Thank you very much, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you, sir. Now, all the participants kindly requested our next session will be start at the 3:30. Meanwhile, there will be a certain time for the recess. Thank you very much.